Welcome into the weekend update edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton, joined to my left by my left, you're right, Chris Yao.
Oh man, Jose Canseco learned that the hard way the other day on Twitter. I don't know if you saw it, but he said good morning to everybody except the guy on my left, and it was Alex Rodriguez, except it was our left, and his left was some random guy in a green shirt, and everybody was wondering what the guy in the green shirt had done.
What's this guy done?
Yeah, wow. It was great.
I did not see that, but that sounds very Jose Canseco-ish.
It was.
Anybody that can have a baseball hit off their head and bounce over the fence for a home run, you never know what to expect out of. So,
man,
yeah,
but that was great last week. If you get a chance, go to his Twitter. It's hilarious. Just all the replies of that poor guy in the green shirt.
Who is he, and what did he do to deserve all this? Catching strays left and right.
Man.
Yeah. Got a great show lined up for you today. In the second hour, we are going to visit with one of our favorite visitors, former Tennessee State Athletics Director TERESA PHILLIPS, also former Lady Tiger women's basketball coach TERESA PHILLIPS, to talk to us about the newest Lady Tiger women's basketball coach, Candace Dupree. News broke on that late yesterday, and looking forward to talking to her getting her insight into that. Also, in the next segment, we'll be visiting with Nashville Sounds play-by-play announcer Jeff Him, getting our weekly update on the Sounds. And I've got a question for him that we've not had a chance to get into here in the last.
It's a good thing we've got questions for him since it's an interview.
Well, I've got more. I've got one question in particular that isn't necessarily Sounds related, but
okay.
Yeah. So
that'll be exciting. I always love to get into stuff with Jeff that's not necessarily Sounds related.
Yeah,
it doesn't happen often, but when it does,
I like to let Jeff flex a little bit when he can. So yeah, he's always fun, and we enjoy Jeff. Gonna talk a little Braves. Got a big series up in the Northeast this weekend. Talk a little Astros. We don't have to talk a lot since Wade's not here. There is a big major league start coming up tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. There is some NBA stuff, both in terms of current play and not, that we're going to get into in the second hour of the show. And again, it's the weekend update, so we will talk about some things that are set to go on this weekend. So looking forward to it. Again, it's a great show, as it typically is here on Main Street Sports Today from 2 to 4. So for the next couple of hours, we hope to hold your attention.
Should be fun. I'm always excited when we get to talk to TERESA. She's great. So it's always a pleasure. And we've got a lot. We have Drake White released a song this morning called 10 Pounds of And so I thought if he didn't actually say the words, I would have let it be our theme song going forward, but he does, so we won't. But
do you think we can get a release? Will he sign a release?
Oh yeah, he would definitely sign it for us. But we might just have to bleep it out.
Let's get him to. Yeah, that'd be great.
Oh man. But anyway, we got a lot to get to. I'm looking forward to it.
We got a lot to get to, so let's go ahead and get to it. Let's start with yesterday's results and this weekend's schedule on the rundown.
This is the Rundown.
Friday Rundown is brought to you by Chip Walters of Exit Realty, Bob Lamb and Associates. The Blue Raider Voice also wants to be your trusted advisor in real estate. Contact Chip today, 615-542-1915, or through his website at choosechip.net. Chip Walters is proud to support youth sports across Middle Tennessee.
High school baseball action from yesterday. I believe these were both region tournament games. Harpeth defeated Camden Central 10-3. Upperman defeated Lawrence County 5-3. Also, Columbia Academy defeated Friendship Christian 8-3. in a Middle Region Championship game in Division 2A. Softball action yesterday. Oakland with a 10-2 win over Blackman. It was Green Hill 8, Mount Juliet 3. Congratulations to @Swag Sanders. That game was preceded by a Mount Juliet 8-4 victory over Beach. It was Henry County 2, Dixon County nothing. Sounds like a classic there. Loretto 8, Mount Pleasant 1. Stewart's Creek defeated Cookville 8-7, and then Smyrna defeated Stewart's Creek 12-5. And in TISAA semifinal action, it was Zion Christian with a 13-0 5-inning victory over Christian Community as Ashley Coble, South Alabama signee, threw a no-hitter, her second straight, with 13 strikeouts. Boys soccer action yesterday. Battleground Academy blanked Davidson Academy 6-0. Coffee County blanked Columbia Central 1-0. It was Lebanon with a 5-4 victory over Cookville. Antioch doubled up Overton 2-1. Murfreesboro Central with a 2-0 win over Franklin County. It was Ravenwood 3, Franklin 2, and Blackman 1, Siegel 0. Major League Baseball, the Houston Astros picked up a win in Yankee Stadium, defeating the Yankees 4-3. And over in Durham, it was the Sounds 3, the Durham Bulls 2. Again, we'll be speaking with Jeff Hem in the next segment.
Today's schedule, starting 7 minutes ago, Cornersville taking on Eagleville in region play.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
At 3 o'clock this afternoon, you can catch Green Hill and Hillsboro. That's interesting. Green Hill versus Green Hills.
Yeah.
That's a good one there. Siegel is also taking on Wilson Central. At 4 o'clock, it will be Summit and Lincoln County, as well as at 4:30, Hardin County and Montgomery Central. Station Camp taking on Hume Fogg. Gordonsville has Joe Burns. Rossview has Henry County. At 5 o'clock tonight, it's Cannon County down at Loretto. John Overton is at Beach at 6. Also at 6, Stewart's Creek at Riverdale. At 7, it's Creekwood at Chester County. Clarksville at Dixon County. That's unfortunate for Dixon. White House at Lawson.
Yeah.
Columbia Central goes to Nolansville. Richland plays host to Fayetteville. Forest takes on Summertown down at Loretto. Those games we told you were yesterday. They clearly were not. They will be today. Times unknown to us. Westmoreland and Watertown. Smith County at White House Heritage. Clay County at East Robertson. And Whites Creek takes on Pearl Cone. Saturday in, I guess, in the other, in not losers bracket, but I guess losers bracket, qualifier 2 runner-up bracket, DeKalb County and Lawrence County will play at Tullahoma at 3. Softball action today. McGavick's at John Overton at 5. Summertown takes on Loretto at Mount Pleasant at 5. Siegel takes on Oakland at 6. And Ravenwood versus Independence
At Page.
at Page. And then the winner plays Summit after, or is that tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Okay. So they will play tomorrow.
Long story.
Well, I knew that they played Summit. I couldn't remember if that was okay. So it'll be Ravenwood Independence tonight or at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Then tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning, Summit will play the winner of that game. And then the winner of that will play Nolansville for the championship.
And an F game will be played on Sunday.
If necessary, hopefully not at this point. Because who wants to come back on Sunday?
Well, I mean,
why would you start at 10 a.m. if you're going to play
2 games?
Yeah. Anyway, that's absurd.
Don't get me started. I've already had this.
On the pitch today,
Yeah.
Beach at Hendersonville at 7. Tomorrow, University School of Nashville is at Battleground Academy at 1.
Major League Baseball action this weekend at 5:40 tonight. The Astros play at Detroit against the Tigers. At 6:10 tonight, the Braves are at the Mets. You can see it on Valley Sports South. Saturday, Braves Mets 3:10. It's on FS1 and Valley Sports South. Thank goodness. And the Astros are at the Tigers. That's at 5:10. Sunday, Astros Tigers 12:40. You can see that one on the MLB Network. Braves Mets 6:10. You can see it on ESPN. Sad day.
That's unfortunate.
It really is, man. The Sounds continue their series at Durham. They play at 5:35 this evening, and tomorrow evening they wrap up that series at 12:05 on Sunday. And in MLS action, the Nashville Soccer Club, coming off that big win last weekend, travels to Charlotte, taking on the Charlotte Football Club. That's a 6:30 first touch tomorrow night. You can see it on Apple TV.
Which I now have. I'm
Congrats.
so excited. Yeah. But unfortunately, we can't finish the rundown until the final segment of the show.
Oh,
We will finish it there in that final segment
oh,
during the grab bag,
oh, okay then.
because we do have one more thing that will happen this weekend, but
Okay.
we will tell you about it in the final segment of the show, so stick around.
Okay, so
That is
all of the rundown that is fit to announce at this point, and so we will wrap the rundown up for now. Top story brought to you as always by Piggly Wiggly over at Neely's Mill here in Columbia. Be sure and check out their delicious daily deli lunch and dinner options because they serve until 6, as well as their hand-cut meats, and everything is cost plus 10% at the cash register. Piggly Wiggly, Neely's Mill, Columbia, bringing you our top story. And today, that top story is friend of the show, Heather Williams, becomes a rival.
enemy of the show.
Yeah, right. Yes.
at least twice a year.
The trash talking will extend even beyond Chris and I, as her alma mater, Missouri State, has accepted an invitation to join Conference USA beginning with the 2025-26 school year. So will become the 12th full-time member of Conference USA, joining the regular suspects: Florida International, Jacksonville State, Liberty, Louisiana Tech, Middle Tennessee State, New Mexico State, Sam Houston State, University of Texas at El Paso, Western Kentucky, Kennesaw State, which officially comes online as a Conference USA member this July, and University of Delaware, which will come online along with Mo State, as they apparently refer to themselves, in 2025. So that gets...
Are you getting royalties off that? You should.
Mo State?
Should be.
Especially since it's MO State, not
I know.
MOE.
Look, I'm just saying.
Hey, let's get Mo paid. Yeah.
And you know, and their AD's name? Moats.
Moats.
So
Kyle Moats. Yeah. We are so excited for the opportunities that CUSA membership will bring to our university, our student athletes, our coaches, and our fans, said Director of Athletics Kyle Moats. This move represents a transition to a national brand and a platform that will help raise the profile of Missouri State University and the city of Springfield. The steps we've taken over the past 15 years to invest in a successful broad-based athletics program have prepared us for this long-awaited moment, the hiring of Bobby Petrino notwithstanding.
mm-hmm.
They will, with this move, obviously be leaving the Missouri Valley Conference, which I'm sure Belmont and Murray State, among others, are like,
Bro, we just got here.
what's up? Yeah. And Missouri State has previously played FBS football, so obviously they will be moving up to FCS.
Flip it, but yes.
I'm sorry, they will be moving to FBS from FCS. Excuse me. They'll be going from Division I AA to Division 1A.
Did you? That's one way to put it and make some people mad. I don't care.
Yeah.
Doesn't bother me.
I never know you to be worried about making people mad.
Nope.
So
I like this move. I think one, if you expanded Delaware, so you kind of went one direction, and UMass was talked about, and I can understand parts of why you would consider UMass.
I can certainly understand why you would not.
Well, that too. But Missouri State is smack dab in the middle of the conference. And listen, as much as I loved having the tournament here and all of that, Missouri State opens up potentially St. Louis, as an option for conference events, maybe even the Battle Dome, as they call it in St. Louis, for conference football championships potentially. It gives you a big market, and not that Conference USA is a market ad conference at this point, but it does give you that ability to be, to potentially be in that area.
I'm going to push back on you ever so slightly on that, just for the fact that I typed in Springfield, Missouri to St. Louis, Missouri, and it is a 3-hour and 18-minute drive, 215.8 miles. Springfield is closer to Bentonville, Arkansas than it is St. Louis.
Well, yeah, I mean,
It's also closer to Kansas City probably than it is St. Louis. So I'm just not sure how much of a market St. Louis is for Missouri State, formerly known as Southwest Missouri State.
well, I mean, as much as Huntsville, maybe.
And it's bigger.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's kind of my point, is
Mhm.
that obviously Huntsville is not a city where, but it is more. This is more centrally located than.
And St.
Huntsville
Louis is more of a destination
Right.
city, with all due respect to Huntsville. But
Who was great, by the way. Fantastic venue. I have no problem with Huntsville. I enjoyed it because it's very close to us. But
inconvenient. Yeah.
UTEP and Sam Houston would much rather probably be in St. Louis than
in
Huntsville.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm just thinking, if you look at the map,
Mhm.
the map shows that Missouri is smack dab in the middle of Conference USA
It's
country.
pretty centrally located.
And
yeah.
I think that was a good move overall. That's all I'm saying.
Mhm.
I just feel like that as far as locations go, Missouri State being in Southwest Missouri is in a fantastic location for expansion. They have a long-standing history of being very good at basketball. and
pretty good at
they
football
were
too.
pretty good at football for a long time. They haven't been for a little while, but I mean, they almost quit football before they hired Petrino. They darn near shut the program down, but they didn't. Now they, are coming into FBS, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think this is a good conference. I mean, everybody else will tell you otherwise. But
Well, it's a good conference viewed in a bit of a vacuum, I think. When you look at other conferences, I think the Conference USA kind of lacks some luster relative to some comparable conferences.
I mean, the American acts like it's so big and bad. They're Tulane everybody else.
Well, that's because the American lost Houston,
Right.
Cincinnati,
So what do they got to talk about? You know what I mean?
New Orleans.
Yeah, but I mean, that's kind of my point, is that all of the Group of Five conferences are worse than they were 10 years ago, thanks to UCF, Houston, Cincinnati going to the Big 12, et cetera.
Mhm.
Everybody's worse off. Conference USA as a whole, particularly in basketball, I think, is a better conference than people give them credit for.
Mhm.
I think in football, it could be good in 3 to 5 years. And I mean really good, not relatively good. Because once Jacksonville State, Sam Houston, Kennesaw get a couple years of FBS under them, it's going to be hard for them to not compete. I mean, Jacksonville State won the New Orleans Bowl in their first year. So give them some time. Give Kennesaw some time. Give Sam Houston some time.
I don't know, Chris. And I'm looking at the membership of the American, and I wasn't really thinking of the American when I was thinking of Conference USA. I'm thinking more Sun Belt. But
the American's the one who calls themselves the Power Six.
Well, UAB, East Carolina, Florida Atlantic, Memphis,
Who are
Charlotte.
all what? Former Conference USA members?
Wichita, Tulane, Tulsa, UTSA, Temple, South Florida, Rice. And I think there's a little bit more name recognition across those.
Sure, but I don't think if you had a challenge in football between those two conferences, that it wouldn't be competitive.
Okay.
I think it would be competitive.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying. What I want to see, because there is a statement in this release from Mo State. This move will absolutely open doors for us. I guess he's talking in recruiting. For our student athletes, they will have less bus travel and more flights, which will get them back to campus in a safer and more timely manner. Hyphenated. Not sure who wrote that. They will also have more financial resources at their disposal for cost of attendance, Alston funds, and a more strategic presence in the name, image, and likeness space. And so again, I'm trying to figure out who is exactly in, here we go, the Missouri Valley. Belmont, Bradley, Drake, Evansville, Illinois, Chicago, Illinois State, Indiana State, Northern Iowa, Southern Illinois, and Valpo. So actually, somebody on Wikipedia has already updated that Missouri State is leaving, so good for them. But yeah, I mean, again, just from a name recognition standpoint, I think Missouri State has benefited themselves. It's interesting that the travel is going to get better for them by their estimation.
They probably
because they're going from Delaware to Florida to New Mexico State.
It's a good thing that they're flying.
I guess.
You can bust to Bradley a little bit easier than you can anywhere in this.
Or maybe that's what he's saying. We'll be flying. Well, they will have less bus travel and more flights because they have to.
Because they have to.
It's kind of being forced upon us. Yeah. Okay.
Oh man, that's great.
Yeah. Let's take a break from the Lee Company Studios here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by TOA Columbia. When we come back, we'll be talking Little Sounds with Jeff Hem. Stay tuned.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today. Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
The weekend update continues here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by TOA of Columbia. We are coming to you from the Lee Company Studios here on West 7th in Muletown. Maurice Patton, Chris Yao, and we are now joined from the ballpark by Nashville Sounds play-by-play announcer Jeff Him. The Sounds with a extra inning victory last night, defeating Durham 3-2. I think that gets them to 2-1 in the series heading into tonight's 5:35 first pitch. Jeff, what's up?
Hey guys, how we doing?
We're doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Everything okay back there after the weather? Man, it was not fun to be far away, keeping tabs on the region a couple nights ago, and thinking about the Columbia area especially.
It was a little hairy down here. I came across from 65 South into town on Bear Creek Road, and I was telling Chris I could see a lot of areas that I had never been able to see before because there were some trees that had been there that aren't there. And
wow.
Like you said, there's definitely been some damage done there, and hopefully folks will be able to get their lives back together here in a timely fashion. And fortunately, I don't think there was any more life loss than there was. Just one fatality. So got relatively lucky.
Relatively fortunate
There.
Yeah.
Sure. So
but thank you for that.
Yeah, appreciate that shout out, Jeff. What's going on with the Sounds?
They're playing well right now. They've won 4 of their last 5, and the roster shuffling never really stops, but it does kind of ebb and flow. And it's been an interesting stretch. Tonight for the Brewers, starting against the Cardinals, will be Robert Gasser. He's going to make his major league debut. That news broke yesterday when he was in the Brewers clubhouse. That's usually a pretty good sign of the beat reporters that a guy is going to be playing up there if he's in the clubhouse. And that was the case with Gasser. So Robert is going to pitch tonight, and we'll see if he's up there longer, if it's a one and done. Freddie Peralta is finishing a 5-game suspension up there for what they had with the Rays a week or so ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so Freddie is not eligible to come back until tomorrow. So they needed a starter, and Gasser's the guy. So they've already had Tobias Myers up there, who was a Sound early in the year, and Myers pitched for them last night, and then Gasser is going to go tonight. So we don't know the movement, the counter moves and the 40-man roster moves just yet. The Brewers have not announced that, but always cool when a guy goes up to the big leagues. Tyler Black did it about a week ago. He just made his return to the Sounds lineup last night. And this is how it goes most of the time. Most of the time, guys go up somewhere along the line. They probably come back. It's very rare to go up and stay forever. So, you get to, for the player, they learn a little bit, they get exposed to it. That big league carrot that's always dangled becomes a reality. And I would think most of the time it motivates a guy even more when he comes back down to try to get back up. So the Sounds are playing well, just a couple of games within 500. They've been thin a lot on the roster because of all the movement. So now these last couple nights, it's truly been a full roster again, and it's allowing Rick Sweet to move guys around a little bit the way he would normally like to. We saw Isaac Collins play the infield last night. He's normally 50-50 infield, outfield. There was a stretch for a couple of weeks where he had to be in the outfield every night because they only had a few outfielders. So as the Brewers are getting healthier with Christian Yelich coming back, the AA Biloxi team has gotten healthier lately with some prospects who could find their way to the Sounds at some point. So that roster filling up is part of the reason why when the Sounds would lose a guy, they wouldn't always directly replace him with somebody because the AA team was thin at times. So things are trending well on the health front at all levels in the Milwaukee system right now, and it's making everybody better. Chris Roller just rejoined the team for this series. Now you've got Black back here because Yelich was reinstated. So would Tyler still want to be in the big leagues? Yes, obviously, but it's sort of a win-win depth chart wise. The fact that he did have to be the odd man out up there meant that Christian Yelich was back. And I'm sure Tyler will find his way in the big leagues at some point again, potentially very soon. He's got such a bright future. Gasser the same way, whether this is a one start and done or Robert pitches well and gets another chance and turns out to be up there for the next 4 months or whatever, somewhere in between. He's got a very bright future too. So we're seeing some very highly regarded young players who've been very impactful Sounds get big league opportunities. So that part is always cool. And then when the team at AAA is still finding ways to win some games, everybody's happy about that too. So it's been a good stretch of late.
Jeff, you know that Robert Gasser will be happy to take the ball anytime the Milwaukee Brewers want to give it to him. But I'm sure he would love to have started last night for the Brewers when they hit 3 home runs in a 7-1 win over Sonny Gray and the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah, they're good. And now tonight, it's your big league debut for a team that's hanging on to the top spot in the division. And it's like, oh, by the way, here's Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt. Go get him, kid. Welcome to the big leagues. Welcome to the big leagues. But hey, that's a reason they call it the show. I mean, you expect to see a lineup kind of like that. And, the Cardinals are I didn't think the Cardinals were going to be world beaters this year, but I'm surprised they're not better than they are. So, I'm sure Gasser is going to get a lineup that's, try to get things going, especially Goldschmidt. So I hope Robert does well. He's a great kid, very impressive. In all facets. And this is a key guy the Brewers got back when they made that unique trade in 22 for Josh Hader with San Diego. Gasser was one of the guys they got back. And say what you want about that trade, 9 times out of 10, the Brewers know what they're doing when they're developing a young arm, whether they're drafting it or scouting it for a trade. They're pretty good at this, and Gasser's another good example of that.
Yeah, and that St. Louis lineup took a hit earlier this week, no pun intended, when Wilson Contreras sustained a broken forearm on a swing. So St. Louis struggling in more than one way, and ideally, Gasser. Well, y'all aren't playing Milk. Who is it tonight? Yeah. Is it still St. Louis?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Cardinals.
Last night started that series. Then.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Okay. Yeah, that was game 2 of a 4-gamer last night.
Okay. All right. No.
Or I'm sorry. Last night was the opener of a 4-gamer.
Tonight's
game 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Today's Friday.
Sometimes.
So they tell me.
Yeah. Exactly.
When you're in the baseball season, man, you don't know what day it is sometimes.
Especially this time of the spring, man, with everything that we've got going on from the high school standpoint and that kind of thing. But we're going to reset here. Jeff Him, the voice of the Nashville Sounds, joining us here on Main Street Sports today, talking a little Nashville Sounds. And, you mentioned Tyler Black coming back, his first game last night, 2 for 5 with an RBI, the game winner, actually, in extra innings. Still clutch, huh?
Yeah, I mean, what's funny, too, is those 2 hits came in his final 2 at-bats. So you're thinking, oh, he's 0 for 3, a little, proverbial hangover or whatever, getting reacclimated. No, he still ends up with a multi-hit game by the end of the night. That's just what Tyler does. He rolls out of bed and hits. So it was they were big ones late in the game last night. The two of the Sounds 2 wins in this series have been extra inning games. I know we've talked on this show in past years about rule changes and pitch clocks and shift rules and the designated runner at second base. Both times in these 2 extra inning games, the Sounds have won in this series. They've gotten 2 in the top of the 10th, and then Durham did get the 1 in the bottom half. You get the immediate drama of that tying run coming to the plate with the designated runner. It just adds to the intrigue of those scenarios. But, the visiting team, usually 1 is not enough. Sounds have gotten 2 each time, and it's turned out to be pretty beneficial.
Yeah, and that's kind of, as you watch extra innings, Jeff, that's kind of the way you've seen it evolve. It's almost, you almost concede that run that's out there at seconds to start the inning, even if you're on defense, because you feel like you're going to score in the bottom, that 1 run. You just try to minimize it.
Yep.
And it feels like 90% or more of the time that run does score.
Yeah, it does. I'll have to. I don't know if I can find a way from somebody at MLB to get the numbers. I would love to know what the actual percentages are, like win percentage relative to, how many the visiting team scored or what have you. It's fascinating. What was interesting last night, because when the rule first started, I thought, okay, that's easy. You sack bunt, get the guy over to third, get the run in, and you got your run as the visiting team. And we rarely see it play out that way for the reasons we were just describing. Last night, Sounds didn't do that. Not a surprise. Well, the first batter got on, and then it was 2 on with nobody out. And some of it is personnel. Chavez Young was the batter for the Sounds, and he likes to bunt for a hit every now and then. Well, they did try, and he got it down. He sacrificed the runners to second and third. And it's interesting, it's different when you're getting 2 runners in the scoring position than just the 1. Then you get first base open. You're forcing the defense to come in. They've got to figure out, are we walking this guy to load him up to get our double play chance? I love the cat and mouse, the intrigue of the punch and counter punch for the managers then in that strategy. But having that that leadoff hitter get on is a totally different question about, should we bunt here when you're getting a second guy into scoring position rather than just the 1, because you are mentally, you're playing for 2 runs there, not for 1. The strategy part of it, I think, is really interesting. It's why overall I love the rule, because then there are other reasons I love the rule, but that's first and foremost. It demands some intrigue right away for the cat and mouse game, which is fun to me.
And considering pitchers no longer hit, I mean, it's just 9 hitters in the lineup. So, you don't have the intrigue of pinch hitting and that kind of thing. But once you get that second runner on, it's almost a given. I would think that you're going to be bunting right there, first and second, nobody out. But it does kind of up the strategery a little bit.
I, like you, would like to see the breakdown, though, of who has scored the more runs, visitors, because I've always said that rule disproportionately helps the visiting teams, because if they score, they can throw their closer. I've always said that the visiting team can throw its closer in the bottom half, where the home team can't necessarily do that.
Yeah,
that's
because they're never protecting the lead. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a big difference, AAA versus big league, because as you guys know, the bullpens are managed so differently at AAA than the big leagues.
You don't have a closer.
Right. Well, you do, but sometimes you're not using him because he might need to be called up, and you don't always just like automatically go to that one guy. Oh, we got the lead. Here we go. Get up, get hot. But you're right. I can see that. That's why I love the discussion, because I think the rule overwhelmingly helps the home team just because that pressure is on the visiting team to not just get one, but to get two, or you really
and you know
feel
what you
like,
got to have.
yes, it's exactly right. And if you find a pitcher, if you find a way in that top of the 10th inning to get out of that runner at second jam, it almost feels like automatically game over. Like there's no way the home team is not going to win the game in the bottom half when they get the runner at second. But you're right. It's interesting. I'll have to try to dig around. I don't know if those numbers are out there, but I wonder what the
Major League Baseball counts everything. It's got to be
right. The question, Chris, is will they share it? That's the question.
That's the key, and I'm not sure if they will or not. Jeff Him, play-by-play voice of the Nashville Sounds. Jeff, this is the one stretch of the year where you don't get to come home for a while, and so with the moving up and the down with all the players, but I mean, Durham to Jacksonville and all of the things that go along with the long road trip, how is everybody kind of handling that, dealing with that? Or, I guess AAA, you're kind of used to whatever life throws at you.
Yeah, they're challenging trips no matter where you're going and who you're playing. Durham is usually a good team. They're under 500 because their pitching has not been great, but they score a lot of runs. This ballpark is just always seems to have wild games, and this series has been that way. So whenever you see a Durham trip coming up, you're in for a battle. And then you go to Jacksonville from there, and the length of it is demanding. I look at it this way. I think overall, the 6-game series concept that we've seen for now these 4 years, starting in 2021 post-COVID, I think most of it, almost all of it, presents nothing but good reasons to keep it going, and I think that's why it's kept going. The one drawback is that it is going to occasionally mean a 12-game road trip, and the Sounds have one 12-game homestand too, so it all balances out. And last year we had two-week road trips. This year it's only one. So I think the players are really, I think the players are good at dealing with what's presented to them. The up and down, these guys, the players are they always impress me by how easily they seem to roll with the punches of the up and down, the changing of the organizations. I'll get my luggage when I get my luggage. I'm going up. Where my car's back in Nashville, but I'm off to meet the team in Anaheim or whatever it is. This is what they do, and they're always impressive to me in how easily they handle some of the personal off the field stuff that comes with occasional roster movement when you're in a random city and you're going somewhere else and most of your clothing is somewhere else and all that. So, that part of it when you're on a 2-week road trip can get unique. But I think the players are really good at just knowing that that's part of the field that they're in, and it could happen. And it's usually for good reason if it's happening, because you're getting an opportunity to some degree where you're going. But it is nice that there's only one of these this year, just because I think it is the one negative byproduct of having the 6-game series, which, again, I think overall for everybody, fans, development staff, planning ahead for the week, schedule makers, everybody just knowing, okay, Tuesday to Sunday is what it's going to be. Mondays are usually off unless it's a holiday. I think that has largely been a very positive thing. But the one part of that is that occasionally you're going to be somewhere or, either home or road for a 2-week stretch.
Jeff Ham, the voice of the Nashville Sounds, joining us here on Main Street Sports today. Jeff, before we let you go, I know you spend a lot of time in the clubhouse with the Sounds, pregame, postgame, that kind of thing. Has there been much talk about this perfect game situation that you've heard? Are you familiar with
I'm
asking you about? There is an article on The Athletic. The headline is "Why the Perfect Game Fanatics Deal Has Agents Raising Concerns About Amateur Player Rights." And apparently it's related to a release. You're familiar with Perfect Game, the amateur baseball organization, I guess.
Almost.
Yeah. They apparently have participants sign a release, kind of giving up their name, image, and likeness rights for memorabilia. that
Interesting.
is that is signed in perpetuity, apparently.
Wow.
And I'm doing a awful job, really, of characterizing this.
It's a very difficult thing to understand, though.
Yeah,
when
read
you
up
say
on this, and we'll ask you about it next week. No.
Yeah, I will do that. When you say in perpetuity, meaning like for however long they're an amateur, or even if they eventually go into pro ball?
Once they go into pro ball,
it stops.
Yes.
So they get
no.
It starts then.
Oh, it starts then. Oh,
no, it
okay.
starts immediately. I mean, if they play college ball and they have memorabilia out there, or folks create memorabilia for them, they
So it's basically saying, hey, 14-year-old kid, we think someday you might turn into something, so you got to sign this now. In case 5 years from now you're a first rounder, and all of a sudden this deal looks a lot. Wow, that's wild.
I mean, it's rare that I find myself agreeing with Scott Boras, but here we go. We have more players for the past 2 years. A Perfect Game is now signing away your individual rights for cards or for other things that should not be the design of the platform. They have now gotten into profit taking on this. We're letting all young athletes know this is a reason not to sign their documents, not to participate. If they demand that, I wouldn't recommend student athletes give away those rights. Why would they?
Wow. Well, one question I would have, and I this is truly, I just don't know. Maybe the answer is yes. Is Perfect Game that heavy of a hitter that they can carry that kind of clout to get people to sign this thing? Like
they are
the only game in town. Are they the only game in town?
They are the biggest game in town.
They're not the only game in town, but they are by far the biggest game in town.
Now, they won't be for much longer if they keep this up.
No.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, you're going to have all it needs is a good handful of really highly regarded amateurs to say, see you later. And then all of a sudden Perfect Game doesn't have maybe some of the stature of kids.
Perfect Game is the new USSSA. It doesn't exist.
Right. Yeah. So
I mean, we could go a whole hour on just thoughts about how gross sometimes amateur athletics gets with expectations and demands, and just what it puts on what families are choosing to go put their child in front of, in hopes that they become an MLB player someday. I mean, it's not just baseball. There's the AAU component to basketball with it too. Some of it just feels gross sometimes.
That's an excellent word for it. I assume you're an athletic subscriber.
I am.
Check this out.
Okay.
And we'll talk more about it because we love talking to you. Jeff Hem, the voice of the Nashville Sounds, joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by TOA of Columbia. And since the Sounds are on the road next week, we'll be visiting with him next week.
Yes, sir.
So
I'll talk to you from Jacksonville.
Absolutely. The jumbo shrimps.
That's right. The large crustaceans.
Yeah. We'll talk to you then, Jeff. Thank you.
All right, guys. See you guys.
All right. Hey, when we come back here on Main Street Sports today, we're going to continue talking baseball at the major league level. So stay tuned when we return to the Lee Company studios after this.
Wild horses are coming to Franklin. The Mustang Heritage Spectacular. 4 days of celebrity freestyle, liberty training, trick riding, and extreme Mustang makeover. Plus the shopping. Over 100 vendor spaces with clothing, food, home goods, and things you can't find anywhere else. All that and celebrity signings at a music stage too. June 20th through 23rd at Williamson County Ag Expo Park. Don't miss a moment with a weekend pass. MustangHeritageFoundation.org for tickets.
Hello, race fans, and welcome to Nashville Super Speedway.
That's right, guitars and fast cars right here in Music City. This summer, NASCAR is back at the Nashville Super Speedway. Get your tickets now to watch your favorite driver take on the 1.33 miles of concrete chaos. Visit NashvilleSuperspeedway.com to lock in your spot June 28th through the 30th for the Ally 400 race weekend.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers. Putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
You will.
.1994, trailing 8-1 going into their final at bat, the Braves forced extra innings and eventually defeated visiting Philadelphia 9-8 in 15. Friend of the show, Mike Mordecai, followed RBI base hits by Mark Lemke and Charlie O'Brien with a 3-run homer, and Javi Lopez's 2-run single scored Deion Sanders with the tying run before Mike Stanton, that's reliever Mike Stanton, beat out an infield single to plate Sanders from third base with the game winner. Stanton, the Braves' 7th pitcher of the night, went 4 innings for the win. That was this day in Braves history.
2 mentions of Deion and the Braves today was not on my bingo card.
It wasn't on David Wilson's bingo card either.
Yeah, probably not. But
as we were texting about Neon Deion, Prime Time, Coach Prime,
his near double play
earlier today.
His not exactly quite double play.
His almost double play. Thank you, Bobby Cox. Yeah.
Bobby Cox, the level of petty to which I aspire.
There you go. That was a tough one. That was a tough one. That's a good documentary, though.
It is
Check
a good
that
documentary.
out.
If you haven't seen it, you should watch it.
Again, Braves open a series at Citi Field tonight, taking on the Mets. Charlie Morton, 2-0 with a 3.50 ERA, goes to the hill for Atlanta. The host Mets counter with 1-3, 5.20 Jose Quintana. I mean, I don't know that this is Eric Fetty type.
We're going to score some runs.
I don't know that I would go so far as that, Joe Simpson, but you feel pretty good. And then again, when you consider how uncanny. This team has had an ability to score late.
Well,
you send 5.20 out there to start the game, and they've been ripping folks late. You feel pretty good about the opener tonight.
What if I told you, speaking of that, I just looked this up when I was looking up to see if the extra innings numbers were out there. What if I told you that the Braves in innings 6 through 9 are 18th in the major leagues in runs scored?
18th? Wow.
It blew me away too.
Wow. It certainly doesn't feel like it.
It does not, but it's like, because when the Braves win, it feels like they're knocking around bullpens. And maybe it's just because they're only scoring 2 or 3 runs late instead of 15 or 16. You know, maybe somebody had a 20-run game where they knocked around some right fielder that got to pitch. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, that's not part of the data, but the data, the straight numbers are that the Braves are 18th in the league in
runs scored from the 6th to the 9th.
Yep.
Wonder what they are in runs scored in the 8th and 9th.
That I don't know, but I thought that was interesting because
I mean, it's not necessarily the 6th and 7th that they have been doing
the
their
8th and 9th for sure.
So that is interesting, though. Series continues at 3:10 tomorrow. Max Fried 2-1 with a 4.23. Christian Scott, the rookie, making his second start. I think no decisions. 1.35 ERA for the Mets, and again, the 6:10 Sunday start that will be aired on ESPN. Bryce Elder and Luis Severino. So
runs scored in the 9th. The Braves rank 4th. So
what about the 8th? Can you get that?
I mean, I'm sure I can't. This is a very, 8th inning runs per game. Number 1, first in the league.
So they're number 1 in the 8th. They're number 4 in the 9th.
Yeah.
So
not so great in the 6th and 7th, clearly.
If they're 18th in the 6th through the 9th. Yeah, that's
16th in the 7th. So in the 6th, they can't score to save their
they haven't
lives.
scored. They've been shut out in the 6th inning, apparently, through their first 34 games. Not a single run in the 6th. That's crazy.
But that was interesting.
Mm-hmm. Houston, as we mentioned, goes to Detroit for I think it's a 3-game series opening tonight, 5:40. They will send Valdez out 1-1 at 3.97, probably one of their better pitchers. Former Auburn standout Casey Mize getting the start for Detroit. He's also 1-1 with a 3.98. The Astros go into this series 13-24 following that win yesterday against the Yankees. Detroit right at 500 at 19-18. So they also play at 5:10 tomorrow, and a midday matchup Sunday at 12:40. Chris, we talked about it, or Wade and I talked about it a couple of days ago. Paul Skeens finally getting up for the Pittsburgh Pirates. He will make his major league debut tomorrow at PNC Park against the visiting Cubs. Paul Skeens, in 7 starts at the AAA level with the Indianapolis Indians, has struck out 45. That's right at 6.5 strikeouts a game. No decisions in any of those 7 starts. That's pretty bizarre.
Wow.
I don't know how many times he's gotten through 5, though.
That doesn't bode well, though.
Yeah.
He wanted to be stretched out.
He went 6 on April 30th against Buffalo. That's the only time he has pitched past the 5th inning. He's in his last 4 starts, he's gone 4 1/3, 6, 4 1/3, 4 1/3. I think so. So yeah,
They must have him on a strict pitch count or something.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. And so my question becomes, what's the over/under for strikeouts for Paul Skeens against the Cubs tomorrow at PNC?
6.
6?
Well, if he can only get 12 outs, maybe 14.
The Cubs are 22-16.
They're pretty good. They're not bad.
They're not bad, much as I hate to admit it. Did they play yesterday? Doesn't look like they played yesterday. Lost to San Diego 3-0 on Wednesday. Cody Bellinger DH'd. He was 0 for 4. Ian Happ was 0 for 2. Does not look as if Dansby Swanson played in that game. I think the Cubs offense is good enough that combined with the kid making his major league debut, I'm going to take the under if the line is 6.
They have 4 players with 35 or more strikeouts on the season. I don't know what that means. I don't know where that ranks. But 35 or more is significantly more than the rest of the team. And so I mean, I think they're prone to strike out, but how many times is Skeen's going to face them? I mean, maybe 6.5 is the right line just to give us an absolute over-under. But
I'm taking the under.
So it would be interesting. I'll see what I'm excited about it, though. I really am. I'm excited to see the kid. I think, obviously watching him in college was fun. It was insane what he did in the College World Series last year. And so, and the fact that they threw him again so quickly in the world, it was just crazy.
What's really insane is this guy spent 3 years at the Air Force Academy.
Yeah.
I mean, if he had stayed there, we might not know who he is. So, let's go ahead and take a break from the Lee Company Studios here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. When we return for hour number 2, we'll talk a little NBA. There's some interesting stuff to talk about, and it's not necessarily playoff related. So let's get to that when we come back.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers, putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
Hour number 2 of the weekend update of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, starts right now. I'm Maurice Patton. That's Chris Yao. Talking a little NBA as I think we started the week with Darvin Ham getting fired by the Lakers. Frank Vogel has joined him on the sidelines as the Phoenix Suns have decided to go, quote, in another direction. And it looks like Bud is back.
For now. I mean, well, look, at this point, I have decided that NBA coaching moves are as fickle as the weather.
And maybe more.
They clearly have the money to pay as many or whoever they want to pay. So whoever shows up and stands on the sideline tomorrow or first game next year is the coach for them. And then the second game, we'll see.
They fired Vogel after one season.
The Bucks fired dude without half a season.
Yep.
So, I mean, what are we doing here?
I have no idea.
Do they not understand the Western Conference is absolutely brutal?
Matt Ishbia may not. This is his third head coach in 3 years since taking over the team. Inherited Monty Williams when he took over the team in February of 23. Fired Williams after they lost in the second round to Denver. 23 NBA champion Denver. Hired Frank Vogel, who had left the Lakers at that point. Budenholzer was available at that point. They went with Vogel instead. So,
look, man, I got nothing. I literally have no words for the NBA coaching situations.
Plural. Yeah. This article on CBS Sports, now Budenholzer will take over a Suns team that looks nothing like his previous rosters. In Atlanta, he led a ragtag group of role players to 60 wins because they fit well together and play team-first offense. Now he has 3 stars with very similar skill sets, those being Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and Kevin Durant. And Bradley Beal and his contract in particular have drawn a lot of scrutiny throughout NBA circles just because they're kind of stuck with it and would probably, truth were known, prefer not to be stuck with it. The Suns roster was among the most mid-range heavy shooting teams in the NBA, and those are shots Budenholzer teams rarely take. So you are trying to fit a round peg into a square hole?
It's okay. The Suns are a very difficult team to coach because of their best players all play basically the
same way.
And so how do you find a way to play team basketball with three guys who play the same way? You don't have five. You don't have five guys who can complement one another because you can't not play those guys. You can't not play Booker and Durant at the same time. You have to.
You've basically got three guys who have to have the ball.
In order to play their game, they need the basketball. I mean, Kevin Durant doesn't just stand there and get boards and putbacks. He's not going to do this. Not the way he plays basketball, and neither does any of the others. So the
no
Suns,
fault of theirs.
No,
you know this. You know this when you sign them.
Yeah, this was a GM. This was a GM folly, and now coaches are getting fired because of it.
Mm-hmm.
And again,
you put this trash together.
Yeah, maybe if I'm these coaches, I'm like, well, I'm
better
off.
I'm
better
good.
off. You know what? As a matter of fact, you did me a favor.
Yeah.
Let me get you a beer.
I'm good.
Because that's where these guys are. And I mean, you've got great coaches who are sitting at the house getting paid not to do anything, and other franchises are missing out on these great coaches. Other franchises, are sitting there going, man, would love to have the problems that those guys have. I don't know. It's absurd. And this whole thing is absurd.
It really is.
Tired of it.
And when Charles Barkley goes off and says the Lakers don't suck because of coaches, the Suns don't suck because of coaches, the players suck. Now, people look at him like he's got three eyes, but you know what?
Well, that's because individually they don't.
But the whole is not always greater than the sum of its parts.
Correct.
Sometimes it's less.
And sometimes far less. I mean, just look at the Lakers for an example. I mean, if you put each of those players on different teams,
mm-hmm.
they are stars.
But all of them together.
But this whole big three thing really started happening with the Heat and then moved into it was the Celtics. The Celtics started the big three with Garnett, Allen, and somebody.
Paul
Pierce. That's when LeBron went to Miami to compete with Boston.
But Garnett, Pierce, Allen were kind of complementary.
That makes sense.
LeBron, Wade, Bosh were kind of complementary because they could kind of spread the floor.
Right. And so what happened was people got in this mindset of the big three
and not looking at how they play.
Correct. And so you just needed to sign three free agents.
Guys. Yeah. Just go get three guys.
And oops, we got two of the wrong ones. And so it kind of makes me, 2 years ago, there were a lot of people who were clamoring for the head of a certain NBA coach in this state. When Taylor Jenkins was getting a lot of hate for not getting out of the second round with the number 2 seeded Grizzlies. Again, the Western Conference is a beast.
It really is.
Folks,
yeah.
Calm down. He was coach of the year. He didn't even have John Morant for half the year, all of these things. And it gives you pause to go, well done, Memphis, for sticking with your guy. He understands your franchise and how you guys want it to be taken care of. They work well together. They've gotten some really good pieces to fit in roles that they needed fit. And so, Memphis in the long run is going to be better off.
Mm-hmm.
These teams who are in, championship or go home, and that's a big problem in college sports too with a lot of fans, is it's championship or bust for everybody.
Right.
And 10-win football seasons don't mean anything anymore, or making the Final Four doesn't mean anything anymore. And now apparently not winning the finals doesn't mean anything anymore. Used to getting to the conference finals meant You were a really good basketball team and an extension. Now it might mean you get fired. And how ridiculous is that?
Pretty darn.
Sorry. Trash can juice.
The return
I
thereof.
haven't had trash can juice in a while, but it really is. Take a breath.
Yeah. Calm down. Woosah. The New York Knicks defeated the Indiana Pacers in NBA playoff action a couple of nights ago on their home court. And the Madison Square Garden faithful made sure that Reggie Miller was aware.
So, you know what? Let's pull another line, because the New York Knicks are another franchise who have been trying to fit their pieces and have finally gotten it right after about a decade of mediocrity and worse.
More than that. Yeah.
But that's how you're supposed to drive.
From now on,
that's how you drive. And the Knicks are doing it in a way that's going to make them successful for years to come. It did take them a while to get there. And sometimes you just got to go through those lulls in professional sports. It just happens.
Yeah. Took a 2-0 lead in that series with a 130-121 victory. Reggie Miller, current broadcaster for TNT, former Indiana Pacers, New York Knicks tormentor for the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah,
much in the same fashion as we were discussing Chipper Jones and the Mets yesterday. As the Knicks closed out that game on Wednesday night, the MSG fans were chanting a certain "You, Reggie" were the final two words of the 3-word chant. And then Josh Hart came over and said, in case you didn't hear them, they said, Reggie. You, Reggie. Yeah. So, all in good fun, I'm sure.
Oh, New York fans have never done anything that wasn't
in good fun. Exactly. Yeah. It's always in good fun.
It's always in good fun until you're doing it to them. And then it's,
Yeah.
Well, it's obscene.
Milwaukee will be without Antetokounmpo, but not the good one.
Yeah.
Thanasis apparently tore an Achilles, and I'm sure that the Bucks have.
That is a tough injury for a Grecian. That's all I'm saying. That's the worst. Does it get worse? That's all I'm saying.
Wow. This article on CBS Sports, Bucks forward Thanasis Antetokounmpo, older brother of Giannis, suffers torn Achilles tendon per report. Subhead: Thanasis has been a staple in Milwaukee sideline celebrations for 5 seasons.
Oh man, how do you? I mean, was this a Grammatica injury? Was he celebrating when he tore the Achilles? Like what?
To say the least, this was an off-court injury.
Okay.
And I've seen reports that say he did it while he was on vacation.
Well,
so I don't know, but I mean, they've been out of the playoffs for a week.
Should have let one ankle go at a time. Dipped him in the river. That's all I'm saying.
Dipped twice. Yeah.
I'm just saying. Could he not have stepped in on his own? Why did you have to dip him upside? I don't know. The Achilles part is a problem. Anyway.
Yeah. I tweeted. The Milwaukee Bucks said, "Don't rush that rehab, Thanasis. Take your time.
Take your time.
Take your time.
We'll get someone else to get the water and swing the towel.
Take your time on that rehab." Getting a little bit more serious though. I saw this late last night on Twitter and haven't really had a chance to look into it. Former LSU standout Glenn Big Baby Davis sentenced to 40 months in prison for defrauding NBA's healthcare plan. Davis, who played 8 NBA seasons from 08 to 15, was found guilty in November 23 of healthcare fraud, wire fraud, conspiracy to make false statements, and conspiracy to commit healthcare and wire fraud.
It's the conspiracy part that gets you.
40 months, I assume that's federal time, and 3 years of supervised release.
Among 20, more than 20.
Yeah. Defrauded the NBA's insurance plan for players and their family members of more than $5 million. The scheme lasted for at least 4 years. Players would submit false claims for dental services and other medical procedures that never took place. Terrence Williams received 10 years. Will Bynum got 18 months.
Yeah, Terrence Williams was like the
ringleader.
He was the ringleader of this thing.
Mm-hmm. That's
well, if it's federal time, he's going to do it all. They don't let you out.
3 years and 4 months. Good Lord.
And I mean, I haven't. This quote, well, at least the prison sentence will stop me from eating hamburgers, he said.
Oof.
That's a quote.
That is a quote.
Jeez.
The draft lottery is Sunday.
Oh, yeah?
2:00 our time before Game 4 of the Knicks Pacers.
Will this one be rigged or no?
I don't know that it will be, because I don't know that there's anybody out there that everybody wants. I mean,
Patrick Ewing ain't walking through that door. Huh?
Nope. Neither is Michael Jordan to go number 3 or anybody else. Yeah. You know, I don't know who the number 1 pick is, so I don't.
That's a good question. We'll need to discuss that further at some point.
Yeah. Who is in it? Who's in the lottery? Detroit, the Wizards, the Hornets, who just hired a new coach, Portland, the Spurs, the Raptors. Memphis is in the lottery. I don't think this should be. Yeah, I don't know that this is a year to have the number 1 pick, though. Again, Utah, Houston, Atlanta, Chicago. Oh, Houston's in it twice because they've got Brooklyn's pick. Sacramento and Golden State.
Yeah, this is a year where 2 Frenchmen well, I don't know if they're Frenchmen, but they've been playing in France, are projected 1 and 2.
Okay. Well,
the 4th pick is from Serbia.
Well, I don't know who the Frenchmen are, but Victor Wembanyama ain't walking through that door either.
Alexander Sarr and Zachary Rissaker.
I guess. Rissaker. I don't know. Yeah.
So there you go. Donovan Clingan, the first collegiate player off the board to go to the Pistons in this mock draft out of UConn.
Where is Connect?
He is sitting at 8 to the Grizzlies, which I would absolutely love. Please and thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, anyway.
Take that. Okay. Let's take a break from the Lee Company studios here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by TOA of Columbia. When we come back, we will be joined by former Tennessee State athletics director, former Tennessee State women's basketball coach, TERESA PHILLIPS, to talk about Tennessee State's new women's basketball coach. Stay with us after the break.
The wild horses are coming to Franklin. The Mustang Heritage Spectacular. 4 days of celebrity freestyle, liberty training, trick riding, and extreme Mustang makeover. Plus the shopping. Over 100 vendor spaces with clothing, food, home goods, and things you can't find anywhere else. All that and celebrity signings at a music stage too. June 20th through 23rd at Williamson County Ag Expo Park. Don't miss a moment with a weekend pass. MustangHeritageFoundation.org for tickets.
Hello, race fans, and welcome to Nashville Super Speedway.
That's right, guitars and fast cars right here in Music City. This summer, NASCAR is back at the Nashville Superspeedway. Get your tickets now to watch your favorite driver take on the 1.33 miles of concrete chaos. Visit NashvilleSuperspeedway.com to lock in your spot June 28th through the 30th for the Ally 400 race weekend.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Winding down the weekend update edition of Main Street Sports Today, here presented by Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton. That's Chris Yao. On your right, my left. There we go. Because I don't want to be compared to Jose Canseco.
You know, people wondering what that guy
over there did. Yeah. Interesting news out of the Tennessee State campus late yesterday, as it was announced that 16-year WNBA veteran Candace Dupree, a 7-time All-Star in the WNBA, who most recently worked as an assistant with the San Antonio Spurs, like until this past season ended, has been hired as the new women's basketball coach at Tennessee State University. And for me, there's nobody better to ask their thoughts about this than the person we're about to ask. Former TSU women's basketball coach, former TSU athletics director, TERESA PHILLIPS, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today. Coach, how are you doing?
I am doing great. How you guys doing?
We're doing well. Everybody, we survived the high winds and everything else from a couple of nights ago. And just as we were mentioning to our other guest earlier today, just continuing to wish everyone in the area well as they recover from the destruction from a couple of nights ago. But, Coach, we've talked to you about various hires in various positions at historic Black colleges and universities, and there have been a few that would, for lack of a better phrase, kind of count as maybe celebrity hires.
Right.
With the credentials that Candace Dupree brings to the table, it would kind of look like maybe this falls into this category. But when you look at her bona fides and the work that she's actually done, she's a coach.
Yes, she is. And she's a celebrity too, though. So she may be a little bit of both. I mean, when you've reached the highest of heights that she has on the professional level in the WNBA, you can't take celebrity off of her. And maybe she's done a little bit more playing at a high level than she has done coaching. I do think she's going to be a rookie coach to some extent on the college level, but she's been a student of the game, from 18 when she played for the now legendary. I don't know if Dawn was legendary as a coach when she played for at Temple, but certainly she is a legendary coach, and she was a legendary player, at least when she coached Candace. And when you have a mentor like a Dawn Staley, that learning curve of being a head coach probably will just really go to a straight shot quicker than the average person's.
When you look at, again, her work at the highest level of professional basketball in the NBA, and she worked in player development, that seems like a really good place to get your start as a coach in player development in the NBA. So, and when you talk about, her first year as a collegiate coach, there are obviously going to be some concerns with, can she recruit and all of those things. But I wonder how much or how less pressure there is for a brand new coach in this era of college basketball with no preconceived notions of how it used to be, how well she will adapt to this era of college sports. So I'll be curious to see how that works out.
Yeah, I think I hear kind of what angle you're going at, because with NIL, with transfer portal, with all of what's going on, those veteran coaches are having to adjust to a new world of what collegiate coaching is. Well, she's coming in right when this is going, so she's not going to know too much different. I'm sure she keeps up with what's going on in the world of college sports, although she was with the NBA and then the WNBA. But heck, she knows this. And recruiting is just relationships. And having a name that she has, having some of the connections that she has, and I'm just going to say Coach Dawn Staley again, won't hurt her at all, as far as, at least, and this is what you want in recruiting. You want to get a shot at the person. You want to get a shot at the student athlete. You want them to be able to open their home up to you. You want to get put on their list or whatever. Candace Dupree's calling my daughter's house. I might put her in Tennessee State on the list just right there. Now, obviously Tennessee State is a mid-major conference, maybe kind of lower than mid-major conference with the OVC. It's not as strong as it has even been in the last 15, 20 years. And so I think Candace is going to be in a great position to win and win quickly at Tennessee State. Now, obviously, she has to find a team, and I think they only have 4 or 5 players, 3 of which were starters coming back, and they can play those 3. She just has to find a few more to go with them, and I'm already predicting in year 2 or no later in year 3 she'll win the OVC.
Yeah, if Dawn Staley says, "Hey, look, there are a couple players that I've seen that probably can't play for me, but they can definitely play at your level," or if she says that, it's going to be high praise for those athletes, and then you still get a chance to play for somebody who has the credentials that Candace Dupree has, and there aren't many coaches in college basketball right now with her credentials.
And past that, to invoke Coach Staley yet again, she gets a player who isn't necessarily working out for her at South Carolina. She has that sit down. You know what? I'm not sure this is going to work, but my girl over here in Nashville might be someplace that you ought to consider.
And then that'll go back to the development piece that I think Candace can prove right away to a young woman that she'll be able to develop you. She's played on a professional level. So, the big thing right now probably for Candace is to really find 2-3 great assistant coaches, hopefully who, obviously who are already in the college game. Wouldn't hurt maybe to have someone with the HBCU experience, because whether people like it or not, that's a slightly different experience that would not hurt to have someone with that experience coming in on her early staff. And again, though, and I mean, are we going to say Don's name for the 5th time? If Don tells some of these young assistant coaches to come and help Candace, they'll be here. That she will get a good staff pretty quickly. I might put my name in it for one of the lower level positions.
Come on.
Coach Phillips coming back. Hey, you've had a little success over there. I mean, if you decided to do it, I'm sure she'd listen. But Coach, you make a great point, and it's a point that a lot of people aren't willing to necessarily acknowledge. It's different coaching at a historically Black college or university. And I mean, I've seen it from a journalistic standpoint because I covered TSU for a pretty good period of time, in addition to some PWIs is the way they refer to them, predominantly white institutions. And things are different. And it's not different bad, not different good, just different. But it takes some getting used to if you've not been in that environment before.
It certainly does. And, I was athletics director there for 20 years. And some of our coaches who came from PWIs came from different experiences. Some of them had experiences in both type of institutions. Some of them deal with it better than others. And the quicker they can kind of deal with some of the things and just keep tunnel vision to what they need to do, and let some of all of that periphery things that will happen at HBCU, like this sounds trite, but the band playing 24/7 when you're playing a game, and them being almost as important as a football team running out. Once you can just kind of get yourself past that and learn to just kind of lean in to some of those cultural differences that you may not have experienced at a PWI. I mean, really, it ends up being just ball, and ball is ball, and you just focus on the young people, focus on developing them, focusing on just winning, and just enjoying the opportunity that you have as a coach to be leading a group of young people. I mean, it's a privilege. And so whether it's at a HBCU or PWI, you have to adjust to the job that you have and the environment in which you are. And the people who do that the best, whether they are broadcasters, people like you guys, or Candace Dupree coming into this situation she's coming into, whoever adapts the quickest, the best, they just, they help themselves out a lot as far as approaching success sooner, rather than kind of drudging through, fighting up against it, because you're not going to win at HBCU to fight some of the cultural wars. You're not going to win.
No.
TERESA Phillips joining us here on Main Street Sports today, talking about Candace Dupree, the new Tennessee State women's basketball coach, who has clearly earned your stamp of approval. But Coach, as you look at girls high school basketball in Middle Tennessee and in Tennessee, her recruiting net doesn't necessarily have to be very broad to be successful in the Ohio Valley Conference, does it?
It does not. And I think, we had a coach who won the OVC in 2015, somebody you're familiar with, Larry Joe Inman, who made his early coaching living at Mount Juliet High School here in the state of Tennessee, at MTSU, on to Eastern Kentucky. And he still knows that we have a great range of talent in Tennessee. And we've missed that boat in the last two coaches to just understand. Actually, when I won, who did I win with? Carolyn Aldridge, Glen
Cardi
Cliff High
Swift.
School. Just the people right here from Nashville and within 20, 30 miles of Nashville. So if she does a good job with that and get her coaches out, really meeting these coaches, going to our local and regional in the state of Tennessee games, she's going to be able to build a lot of her team.
I mean, Rick's done a great job of recruiting Middle Tennessee, and you see what he's been able to accomplish.
Right.
So,
yeah. And Rick, Rick can't have all of them.
Right. He can't, yeah. He's only got so many spots. So
yeah, he can't have all of them. It's a few more out there,
Sure. And that is one of the great things about being in Nashville right now. With Vanderbilt women's basketball on the upswing, Teresa, you've seen them up close and personal for the last couple of years. And we talk about it all the time about how the talent level in Middle Tennessee has grown to, absurd amounts at this point. But women's basketball has always been very strong in this area. Yeah. And so, it is a good way to build a program starting here at home. And I think that's going to be a big part of this. I'm curious though, Teresa, how does the world of college sports today affect HBCUs in this NIL realm? Because I would feel like there are a lot of opportunities for HBCU athletes to be brand ambassadors in that realm. Is that something that you have seen at Tennessee State or anywhere else?
Well, I talked to the people in athletics in Tennessee State. Still have a great relationship with them and Mickey, and I think they're struggling actually in the NIL world. I mean, I think that they really are not getting the lift off that they need to get. I think having a coach like Candace may open that up a little bit. And most of the time, if a coach comes in, they're not going to just get for their team, women's basketball. They may open up some doors, and she may be able to open up some doors for Coach Penny over on the men's side. You never know, for Eddie. So some of that exists, but, people work with and give to people they know and feel good and familiar with. And so sometimes you just, that's why I think celebrity coaches, if they can do their job with using some of those tools and connections that they have, because, to be honest, NIL, even on our level, even on this mid-major level, these kids are able to get, at 10, 25,000, 50. They might not be getting $1 million, but, if you're just a college kid, $25,000 is a nice little amount of money to have in your pocket. And it will influence you signing with, Memphis, University of Memphis versus Tennessee State right there. I mean, the rest of the deal might be kind of even. And a lot of coaches are complaining they're chasing the money. Well, it's just a reality. It's a reality. And hopefully there's a little money there. And then you have a promise of a great education and a great mentor in Candace Dupree or Penny or Eddie George or whomever. You still have to sell yourself and what you're going to do for that young person. And of course, the school has to be part of that sale.
Coach, it's interesting as we get into the NIL space as it relates to an Ohio Valley Conference institution, because I wonder who is doing NIL well in that conference. And I don't know if you still have those conversations with, current or former administrators or anything like that. But as I consider, Tennessee Tech and Tennessee Martin and Moorhead and some of those schools, I'm not, and it's a perception more than anything, I guess, but I'm not necessarily perceiving any of those schools just shelling out significant amounts of money in the NIL space.
Well, I have the opportunity to talk to a few of them. You know, I still go to some of the games here at TSU. Just saw EIU AD recently. Of course, Mark and I, who's up at Tennessee Tech, are pretty good friends, still colleagues, still talk and chat occasionally. It's difficult for them. I think Tennessee State could theoretically be a little ahead of them because we're in Nashville. And there's some opportunities here in Nashville that I've seen some of our football players get, some of the hip hop stores, some of the Slim and Husky things. I mean, so, you know, it's just a little broader reach here in Nashville for the little dollars. And so it does exist, but, you know, it's going to have to really, you're going to have to invest in someone to help you with a collective and to really, really focus on that for your program and or for your athletics programs as a whole.
Great.
It's not going away. Not going away.
No, it's not. So you better figure it out. Absolutely. TERESA Phillips joining us here on Main Street Sports today. Coach, as always, we appreciate your insight, appreciate your willingness to come on with a couple of knuckleheads and talk a little sports for a little bit, and look forward to getting you on again soon.
Okay, I put this on. This is the 2015 OVC Championship medallion.
Oh.
And I'm going to tell you, about 2 years held me back on. Candace will have us another one.
All right. Sounds good. We're going to take you up on that. We appreciate it, Coach. Talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Hey, when we come back here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by TOAF Columbia, it's the final segment of the week, and it's the grab bag. Stay tuned as we return from the Lee Company studios.
I'm Maurice Patton, and on Main Street Sports Today, we bring you the voices of your favorite teams from preps to pros. Otherwise known as the VOT, Mike Keith.
The bottom line is we can teach Will Levis woke.
I just don't know who's going to work with you on your base stealing now that Eli's gone.
Well, that has nowhere to go but up. And I was just like, oh, guys, not again. Can we just bury that, burn that footage, and not bring it back?
No.
No. Thank you. We'll keep it going past the All-Star break, and looking forward to seeing how the rest of the season plays out. There's always a good story to tell.
Can you guess where I am today, Mo? Where am I?
It's not Reese Smith Field, is it?
Yeah.
Because anytime you play Chicago, you want to win. That's just
you got that right, and
that's bottom line.
Be a buzz.
When you're walking the dog, you keep the bags that you need for the dog in the bag, and you don't even have to wear it. You can just hold it, which is what I do when I walk the dog. So
I think the fanny pack probably needed a little rebranding.
It did. It really did.
On your show logo, we've got to get a puck in there. There's a basketball. There's a football. There's a baseball. Maybe not a puck. How about Mo brandishes a hockey stick?
Tune in daily at 2 p.m. on Main Street Media TV.
Weekend update edition of Main Street Sports Today. This is the final segment. And so with no further ado, I'll turn it over to our alt football expert, Chris Yao.
All right. Well, we told you we'd finish the rundown. We will indeed finish the rundown because the Nashville Cats scheduled to play the Philadelphia Soul on Sunday, on Mother's Day.
At Municipal
Auditorium.
2:00 kick.
Well, you can still go to Municipal at 2:00 to watch.
And you can still see the Nashville Cats.
And you can still see the Nashville Cats. As a matter of fact, if you use the code MOTHER, and that's it, just MOTHER. Don't use the word that they said before you, Reggie.
No, just mother, 6 letters.
BOGO, buy one ticket, get one free. Always a great deal to take mom to an arena football game.
That's exactly how my mom wants to spend Mother's Day.
Well, they were scheduled to play the Philadelphia Soul. The Philadelphia Soul have announced they are, quote, taking a long pause
Not just a pause.
A long pause.
A long pause.
Throughout 2024, at least. Now, the Salina, Kansas Liberty.
That's Salina,
Not
not Solana, Tennessee, not Celine Dion, Solana. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's Salina. The Liberty will come in. They'll be here. 2:30 kick.
2:30.
Yeah. 2:30 kick. Going to be a lot of fun here in Nashville at Municipal. Make sure to get out there. Next week's opponent has not been announced, but it has been announced that I say it's been announced. The players in Georgia are leaving. So the Georgia Force do not have a team as of
So
now.
the Georgia Force no longer exists?
The players are not there. I guess the team exists, but I don't know who's going to play for them. So
now they were already a road team, right?
They were a travel only team. They were one of the 4 teams owned by the Arena Football League. And at this point, they are unlikely to be at F&M Bank Arena next week. The Minnesota Myth have officially called it quits. Ricky Foggy, the coach, quit earlier today. The players who still have not been paid will. That's why Georgia's players are leaving. They have also not been paid for the 2 games that they played.
It's a good reason to leave.
Yeah, so they're done. The West Texas Desert Hawks were told by a federal judge that they were not allowed to play.
I'm just going to say, if a federal judge told me not to do something,
I'm probably not going to do it.
I'm likely not going to do it.
Allegedly, there has been a settlement of some degree between West Texas and the former National Arena League, the NAL, to allow them.
Does the federal judge know it?
Well, I'm sure that it's. I'm sure you have to put that in. Make that motion in court somewhere somehow. But they're going to play in Washington this weekend. Meanwhile, the Oregon Black Bears were scheduled to go, so it may be one of those famous tri matches that we talk about. I don't know. There may be a Saturday-Sunday doubleheader.
Split doubleheader.
I don't know how that's going to work. I got nothing. But 2 teams are going to play in Washington. Who they are, I don't know.
Now that's Washington State, by
Washington
the way,
State, not D.C. Let's see. Who else is – the New Orleans Voodoo, or the Louisiana Voodoo, I apologize. They were to play in Lake Charles, got kicked out of Lake Charles, ended up in –
Lake Charles is not New Orleans, by the way.
Yeah. Well, they're the Louisiana Voodoo, but New Orleans was the old name. That's why I get confused.
Okay.
But they got kicked out of Lake Charles. They ended up playing 1 game somewhere else near Shreveport, but not quite Shreveport.
Bossier City?
No, it wasn't. That would have been a good arena, relatively speaking. They were in the Ag Center in Williamson County, basically. I mean, that's the kind of arena they were playing in. Very low ceilings.
Be careful.
Well, I just mean this. It was a rodeo arena. It's not. It was not a hockey type arena or a sports arena. It's a rodeo arena. They built a pole barn. You know what I mean? Like, that's how this worked. It wasn't intended for kicking balls into the air.
Gotcha. Okay.
So this is a problem. Or throwing a pass in the air, for that matter. If you throw it far enough, you might hit a beam. Who knows? And so that just didn't work out. It's a mess. But anyway, the Cats are in good standing. Any team that's not owned by the league, doing really well right now. So, but no one has heard from Lee Hutton in about 10 days, who is the commissioner of the league. Like, he's literally hiding.
Oof.
So
that's not great.
Like face on milk cartons kind of thing.
That's not great.
No, not at all. But hey, real quick, if you do want to be a part of the Alley Cat fan club section, get your tickets in H4 for Sunday.
H4 for Sunday. Okay. That's interesting. To continue our minor league football / alt football discussion, week 7 of the United Football League schedule is this weekend.
5-1 St. Louis on a 5-game win streak, and their only loss, that 64-yard field goal, 68-yard field goal, whatever it was in week 1 from Michigan to beat St. Louis, and that was
by Jake Bates.
Yes. So that was their only loss of the year. They're on a 5-game win streak. Birmingham's on a 13-game win streak. They've not lost going back to last year in 13 straight. In Birmingham, maybe the most anticipated spring football game in the history of spring football in the American realm. Obviously, Canadians a little different. I know they play summer, but this is a pretty big deal. A.J. McCarron, the quarterback for the Battlehawks, coming back. His first time playing in the state of Alabama since the kick six.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So tickets have been on sale all week, obviously, and they have continued to open previously closed areas of the stadium throughout the week as tickets have been in high demand. And Birmingham, typically, pretty big walk-up crowd usually, because they don't decide to go until it's, 1
Until they know what the weather's going to be like.
Yeah, so that was at 3 o'clock. Is it 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock?
I believe it's 2 o'clock Central because ESPN says 3 o'clock. So I believe it's 2 o'clock Central, St. Louis at Birmingham. That game will be aired on Fox if you don't want to go to Progressive Field. That game will be preceded on ESPN/ESPN Plus by 1-5 Memphis at 0-6 Arlington in the Somebody's Gotta Win game.
Yeah.
Sunday's doubleheader.
The two worst teams and then the two best teams. All right.
Yeah. Sunday's doubleheader begins at 10 a.m. on ESPN as the Michigan Panthers travel to the DC Defenders, followed at 1, also on ESPN, by the San Antonio Brahmas traveling to Corn Elder and the Houston Roughnecks. So 3 of the 4 games this weekend are on ESPN. The other one's on Fox. The best one's on Fox. Go figure.
Yeah, and Birmingham has been the top viewership market as well. So clearly,
you know why? Because it's football and it's Alabama.
Well, and that just goes to show why they aren't coming to games. Why,
Because they're watching on TV.
Yeah, they're watching it at the house. So good for them. But yeah.
As we mentioned during the rundown, NSC plays at Charlotte tomorrow night. It's a 6:30 first touch. You can see it on Apple TV. Have you paid any attention to the Stanley Cup since the Predators were eliminated?
I watched the Oilers lose to the Canucks on another randomly lucky. The Canucks are destined at this point.
No.
I mean, seriously.
And that wouldn't be such a bad thing for the Predators to be able to say we lost to the eventual Stanley Cup finalist, Stanley Cup champion, whatever. So,
the Rangers are on a rampage right now. They lead Carolina 3-0 in their series. And I think it's pretty much New York and everybody right now. It's been crazy. I did not see that coming, but here we are. They can actually close it out tomorrow night at 6 o'clock on TNT, which is just nuts. Edmonton and Vancouver again tonight, though.
You buried the lead on that one.
What's that? Oh, Peter.
The NY Rangers coached by.
Well, this would be his second appearance in the Stanley Cup final since being fired by the Predators, wouldn't it? Because didn't he have he took the Caps? Was that before?
No, that was Trotz, wasn't it, that took the Caps?
Okay, well, either way, when you get fired by the Predators, good things happen.
Just saw this on ESPN. Former Major League infielder, Little League World Series standout Sean Burroughs died at the age of 43 yesterday afternoon while coaching his son's Little League team. So condolences to the Burroughs family. Of course, Sean, the son of former Major Leaguer Jeff Burroughs. So that's going to do it for this week here on Main Street Sports Today. Be sure and join us Monday at 2 o'clock. We'll see you then.